I will find you. You will ask, what will you do when they find me? Don't be scared of yourself.
Hi, I'm Dawn.
And I'm Ashley.
We would like to welcome you to the Work It, You Are Worth It podcast.
We're two friends sit around and talk about healing, growth, and healthy relationships.
Hey, Ashley.
Hey, Dawn, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Yes, it was an amazing cruise. I had an amazing vacation. It was so much fun.
Good. Yeah, we took a couple of weeks because you were cruising around the world.
Not the whole world, just the Caribbean.
Okay. And yeah, so we took a couple weeks off. So we're back and excited about that. And, a new podcast actually will come out this Tuesday, the 9th. The 9th. So, so we'll get back into this groove that we have. So, yeah, welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be back. It has been a long week getting back into the swing of things for sure.
Yeah. What all did you guys do?
So we went to Bimini, Freeport, and Nassau. In one of them, we went and did swimming with the pigs. I think it was Freeport. We went swimming with the pigs, which was it was disgusting, but it was a lot of fun. It was disgusting because you're in the ocean with the pigs who are peeing and pooping in the water, and you can kind of see turd balls float by you, and you jump around and you splash them away from you. And yeah, it was kind of gross. Everybody had to shower immediately after getting done swimming with the pigs, so it was definitely disgusting, but it was a lot of fun. The kids enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. I laughed harder than I have ever laughed. I mean, if you can imagine these 200-pound pigs come charging into the water and then they're swimming because they can't touch. It was a lot of fun.
And I'm sure they were people comfortable if it was an excursion. So.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. They were super friendly. They were super comfortable. We were petting them while they were eating, and it was a lot of fun. We got to take pictures with them. There's one baby pig everybody was holding and got to take pictures with, and it was cool.
Oh, fun.
And then in Nassau, we went shopping. We went to the Street Mart, Swap Me. I don't remember what it was called. Straw Mart. That's what it is, the Straw Mart. And we went to the Straw Mart and we went up and down the streets and just went shopping and checked out the beach and then hung out.
Nice.
And then the other place we just went and hung out on the beach and hung out by the pool.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun. I really like cruising because I don't have to plan or think about anything.
Yeah.
It's like, what do I feel like doing in this? It is the best practice of living in the moment possible.
Elaborate.
Well, like, you literally don't have to think about anything. You don't have to plan anything. You wake up and you ask yourself what you want and you go and do what you want. Do I want to eat? Do I want to read? Do I want to go to a show? Do I want to go to the casino? Do I want to go swimming? Literally, whatever you want is there to take and do, and all you have to do is decide what you feel like doing in that moment.
That could be overwhelming if you don't know yourself.
I think if you don't know yourself or if you can't decide what you want, there's so much to do that you just pick something and go do it.
Okay.
And that's what I mean by it's practice, right? It could be overwhelming. I could definitely see having to choose what I want after never figuring out or knowing what I want. I could definitely see how that could be overwhelming. And for me, it was not overwhelming. It was the best possible situation, the most positive possible situation to practice doing that. And then it feels like I come back and I have all of this practice of taking care of me and living in the moment and not worrying and not thinking about what's going to come tomorrow or later, that it's it's easier to just continue doing and going into the flow of it with my real life.
Interesting. Because what I think about, one of the things that I'll sometimes struggle with outside of, like in my real world, is what do I want to do? Oh, I want to do this and I want to do this, but if I don't do this now, then I'm going to miss out. And so, oh, I have to choose between this and missing out on something. But I think in the cruise, and I think in a cruise though, you don't have that because things run so frequently
Right.
that you, like, oh, I can't do this hour, so I'll just do it next hour or whatever it is.
Absolutely. Like we wanted to play bingo. Well, bingo is the only thing that ran if bingo was at this time, and if you missed it, you missed it. But everything else that happened at the exact same time as bingo, you didn't miss if you went to bingo. You could do it later, or you could do it in 3 hours, or you could do it the next day.
Yeah, okay. So see that, then that would be good.
It was very, like, there was never a time where I had to say, do I want to do this or do I want to do this and pick one. I just had to choose what I wanted to do and go do
Okay. Um, so if anybody has been listening to us in the beginning, they'll know that you went on a cruise last year and there was only one thing you wanted to do or to happen while you were on the cruise. That cruise. Do you remember what it was?
it. I wanted to see dolphins.
Did you see dolphins this time?
I saw dolphins last time. This time I actually saw sharks.
Okay.
So, yes. So, as we were coming out of one of the ports, I don't remember, it may have been Freeport, but as we were coming out of the port, there was this little restaurant thing up on the island or peninsula that stuck out of the island. And there were people sitting up there eating, and they would throw off whatever they were eating, they would throw it out over the rail into the ocean. And there were like five nurse sharks just swimming around, or reef sharks, I don't know which, but they were swimming around eating whatever those people were throwing off.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I saw flying fish one time, and then we saw the sharks, and that I believe was all of the wildlife we saw this time.
Okay. That's still pretty cool. So,
Yes, it was awesome. I This time I didn't really have a goal. I just wanted to relax and have fun, and that was definitely accomplished.
good. Well, much deserved. So, I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah, how was your week? Did you have a wonderful time this week?
I did. I worked. I actually took a day off from work because we're getting back into a little bit of a busier time, and decided I needed a day to. It's so nice here right now. We are actually getting true spring for once. So it's 82 to 83 degrees with very little humidity.
Nice.
Yeah, so I actually took a day off and went to the pool and laid by the pool for a few hours. I slept late and just took a day just to be, and it was really really nice. And it's, but the sad part about it is it was like, yes, it was a great day. However, getting back to work now, I have a day's worth of emails on top of all the emails you get.
Oh my,
Um,
tell me about it.
Right, my mind disconnected because I do disconnect. I'm able now to disconnect on Friday after, oh, it's Friday, disconnect. Right, I'm living in the moment, hanging out with friends,
Right.
not thinking about work. And that extra day actually made it almost harder this week. I was really struggling I kind of felt behind the whole time. And I wasn't. I was getting all my deliverables were on time. It wasn't that, it wasn't an actual, oh, I'm behind, but I felt behind. I felt rushed. I felt like that extra day disconnected me so much that I couldn't get back in the groove of it.
Gotcha.
And I'm not a big, oh, let me take a day off just to take a day off person. I'm going to take like, so I'm getting 5, 6 days off because again,
Right.
I think we've talked about like with the cruise, right? Last podcast we talked to you, a week allows you to, decompress, to enjoy, and then kind of get back in the groove of it. And that's kind
Yes.
of what, taking more days off does for me. Um, a one day, it's like, I don't know, it just more of a throws a wrench into life for me than it does, or from a work life, than it is a benefit.
Yeah, I think
So,
I'm the same way. I mean, a lot of people talk about taking a 3-day cruise, and I'm like, well, but I need a day to drive there, a day to drive back, and then I only got 3 days dreading the whole drive each way, and
right.
it's just not even worth it for me. I agree with that. I am one of those people. I think that I don't take a day just to take a day. If I'm going to
Right.
take a time off, I'm taking a week at a time, and I'm going to enjoy the entire vacation.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did it, and I haven't done that in a while because, like, last year I took 3 weeks off in the summer, and then I took 3 weeks off at Christmas. Um, and then I did have a few days off, but I was like, let me, and I'm like, I really like it just cemented that I like taking longer blocks of time. It just allows
Yes.
me to feel better because I was like, I still was like, oh, well, so I cleaned house Monday. Like, right, instead of doing it over the weekend, it's like, oh, just, I kept putting it off, and then I did it Monday
Right.
morning. Well, now that's not a day off.
Right.
It was just, yeah, it's just something that for me, I just noticed that. I'm just aware of it this time.
I am definitely the same way, without a doubt. Like, if sometimes we'll have a slow week at work, so we'll have Friday off.
Hmm.
And I will, instead of just acting like Friday's a work day and doing all the housework and doing the errands on Friday, I'll be like, oh, here's the day, let me do nothing.
Right.
And then I do nothing Friday, and then I do nothing Saturday. And then come Sunday, I'm like, crap, now I got 1,000 things to do,
Yep.
and I put it off all weekend. And yes, that's what usually ends up happening with me when I just take an extra day.
Yeah. And I work from home on Mondays, and I took a Monday off, and I think that threw me off too
Yeah,
because Monday, so Mondays is usually my day I do laundry. Even though I'm working, I'm home, so I can just, do laundry. And so, like, I'm behind on laundry. I didn't do laundry until like Tuesday, Wednesday,
right.
and it's thrown me off. So,
It does that to me too. I was
yeah,
just saying to someone this morning, I am very schedule oriented. Like,
yes,
I don't like throwing a wrench in my plans. And if I do throw a wrench in my plans, I like a couple of days to enjoy it.
yeah. And it's not that it's gonna doesn't a wrench used to take me out. Like it would be just like it'd send me on a spinning
Even if it was a good
craziness.
thing,
Yes,
like an unexpected wedding where tickets are paid for and all you got to do is take a day off and show up.
right. That
That
would,
would throw me into a tailspin.
yeah. Now I don't go in a tailspin. I can consciously say, I don't like to do that.
What do you think has changed? Why do you think that difference is?
For me, I think it's I u- I saw a meme recently, and I think it was a meme or something, and it was talking about drama, right? My life was full of drama, so I knew how to handle that. Like I was very, very good at it, right? Throw a wrench in, okay, right? It would send me spinning, but it wouldn't send me spinning where I was out of control and I couldn't manage it, right? It because I was already spinning,
Right. It
so
would
it
just
just
send you spinning faster, like, ooh, I got to do this and this and this and this and this.
yes, but I could do that. I could manage all that because right,
Because
my life was chaos.
you were thinking about everything except yourself. It was
Exactly.
one more thing to distract you from you.
Yeah. So, you want to throw a wrench in? Great. I got this, and right. I would. I don't want to say boast because like I haven't usually been I don't usually boast about myself, but like I would. That was something I would take pride in. That bring it on. I can multitask like nobody's business, and I can this, and I got this, and don't worry about it. And like I would be proud that I could juggle 1.5 million things, and
Right.
successfully they would be done. Well, yeah, successfully, but they weren't with my best effort.
Right.
And
And
so
I
were
would be
they?
frazzled at the end.
Yes, yes. And so the basically that meme was like, right, chaos is in your life because you know how to deal with chaos. And that's why it was okay and it was comfortable. But now I don't know how to deal with chaos because I don't have chaos in my life. Um, it's not, I shouldn't say I don't know how to deal with it. It's not as natural to just be in chaos because I don't have chaos in my life. So now when something happens like that, I have to consciously, and I do consciously step back and do I want to deal with that? No, I don't.
Right. Consciously choose not to join that crazy train.
Right. And I can join the I mean, I if I want to join the crazy train, I can join the crazy train. I think that's the
Oh, hell,
thing,
I could drive it.
right? But it's a conscious decision. That's what it is. It's not a I'm just before it would just be I would be on it and I would never get off and I wouldn't even consider anything. And it wasn't like I was saying,
It was just autopilot. Like you were just on
yes.
the crazy train, whether you wanted to be or not. So,
Yes.
what I hear you saying is what I was going to say is living in the moment,
Yeah.
right? Before I used to go into a spiral and lose my crap and get all stressed out because I was worried about what would happen in the future, or I was stressed and upset about what had happened in the past.
Right.
Whereas now I can say, this is what is happening right now, and this is what I am dealing with. So, like for example, the Baltimore Bridge collapsed while we were on the cruise. I'm sure everybody at this point has heard about that. I left out of the port of Baltimore. I left Sunday night. The bridge collapsed Monday night. So we heard about it Tuesday morning when we woke up. We still had 5 days of our cruise left to go, but we had no idea how we were going to get back to land. There's two ports, Baltimore Port, which was blocked by the bridge because we couldn't get there, and that's where my car was, and Port of Virginia, Norfolk, which was closed because it was under construction for cruise ships. They didn't have a place big enough to board. The only other one we knew of was up in New York. Well, we certainly didn't want to have to ride the boat all the way up to New York, right? So 5 years ago, had I been on the cruise and that happened, the Baltimore Bridge collapsed, my car be in the Baltimore port, and know that I couldn't get back to my car, I would have immediately bought the internet plan, got on the phone, tried to figure out train tickets, gotten a hold of family, tried to figure out where I could stay, been stressed out for the next 2, 3, 4, however many days it took to get the plans. I would have been stressing the entire time trying to figure out the plans. It probably would have severely impacted my ability to enjoy the cruise. This time, I was able to stay in the moment. I woke up Tuesday morning. We heard about the bridge collapse. I was like, oh, that's terrible. Let's go see what they're saying up on deck, right, where all the news is, because I didn't have internet service on my cell phone. So we go up, we hear the captain's message, and the message is, we're trying to figure it out. Please don't stress. We will take care of you. We'll let you know in the morning. So I had two options right there. Of course, everyone on that boat had two options right there. We could stress, we could worry about it, we could try to figure it out ourselves, or we could trust Carnival would take care of us, and we could trust that they would make sure we got back to our vehicles. In that moment, I chose. I consciously chose. I had an intelligent conversation with myself about whether or not I wanted to trust Carnival to get me back to my car, or if I wanted to figure it out myself. I also had a conversation with myself about what figuring it out myself would entail. Internet package, trying to find trains or buses or call family, whatever. And I chose not to stress over it. I chose to give it to my higher power. I chose to give it to Carnival. And I chose to just enjoy my cruise and stay in the moment. That is what I think recovery has given me. That is, I think, this week, I think. Meaning I think it this week, because if you'd asked me 3 weeks ago, I'd have thought it was something different. But that is what this week I think is the key to my recovery. Being able to remain right here where I am in this moment right now, not go back into the past, into my resentments and my angers, and this is what happened before, not jump into the future of this is what's going to happen and this is what I'm worried about, but to stay knowingly and aware right here in this moment. I think that's the key for me.
I like that. And clearly, whatever happened, because you gave, whatever, you obviously made it home. Because
Yes.
we're having a conversation, and at no control over yours, you made it home.
Right. And I did not need to take an extra day off of work. I didn't spend any money out of pocket. I mean, granted, the 6-hour bus ride kind of sucked, but
Yeah,
it could have been worse.
right.
I enjoyed my vacation. We had a full 7 days. We ended up going to port in Norfolk. Carnival put us on buses and drove us back to Baltimore to our cars, and then we drove home. What should have been a 5-hour drive ended up taking about 12 to 16 total. But
You were
it
able to make it.
wasn't
It
right.
could have been New York.
Right. It could have been way worse. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't bad. We stayed happy through it.
Hmm.
We stayed smiling through it. Um, the bus ride wasn't terrible. The boat was amazing, and the drive home wasn't bad either. So I'm very grateful that I was able to let go of control and allow Carnival to take the wheel and figure out how to get me back to my car. And I'm grateful that I did not spend money I didn't need to on
Right.
trains or internet, and I did
Yep.
not use wasted stress.
That is an amazing example of staying in the moment, because I would have probably done in the past done the same thing,
Yeah.
right? Just control. Because if I didn't have control, things were out of control. But things are always out of my control.
Right.
But I didn't
like
realize that then.
absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there were plenty of people on the boat that were stressed out. There were plenty of people that were worried about how they were going to get home. As you can imagine, you'd go to dinner, and as you overhear people talking, that is the talk of the ship,
Right.
is how are we going to get home? And it was really, really nice not to stress about that.
Nice to not be that person.
It really was. To be able to enjoy my vacation and just be like, they'll figure it out. It'll be okay. It was really nice.
Yeah. And because it's funny, right? You're one person, I'm one person, but I was trying to control it and figure it out is something I would take on. And here they probably Carnival, right? Carnival, the port, all of these people, hundreds of people are all working to get you back safely and figure out how they're going to get you to your cars with minimal disruption, because if there's not minimal disruption, that could affect future sales. But I would think that
Right.
I could control it better than they could, and 100 people controlling it versus me.
Yes, and there were a lot of people that did. At one point, Carnival made an announcement over the speaker to please stop buying train tickets online. It was backing up the internet. Yeah, people weren't able to get to the Carnival hub because everybody was trying
Yeah.
to use the internet to get train tickets and stuff, which was totally unneeded.
Right.
I mean, granted, a train probably would have only taken 3 hours and the bus took 6. But I mean, I think personally that Carnival did an amazing job.
Oh,
Like
that's
they
good.
put us on a port in Norfolk, and they drove us to Baltimore, and we got in our cars and we left.
There's nothing, I don't think, this is just my opinion in this, right? At the end of the day, there were people that lost their cars in the river, right? There are people that
There were
lost,
people that lost their lives.
exactly. There are 5 people that they're people will never see again. Like there's no closure, right, of seeing
Right.
a body for you had to ride a fucking train for 6 hours. You know what? Or a bus
A
for six
bus,
hours,
yeah.
right? I think that's the thing. It's like the it's so what you had to ride a bus for 6 hours, and I know you're not complaining at all, and I know
Mm-mm.
Cam didn't complain, and but I think that's part of living in the moment and being aware of reality.
Yes, absolutely. Living in the moment and being aware.
Yes, and I had a 6 hour bus ride, but I'm safe, and it could have been your ship that hit the bridge.
Right. It could have been, I mean, you could see the bridge from the port where my car was parked. It could have been that a wave from the bridge falling in came and ruined my car.
Right, there's so many stories.
Anything could have happened.
Yes.
It could have been that that bridge could have collapsed 2 nights earlier and we didn't get to go on our cruise.
That's true too.
That for me would have been horrible. That would have been terrible. I like
Right, it could have been the night before you got back, and then they wouldn't have been able to. That would have been a lot more of a mess trying to figure out how to get everybody back. But no, they had 5 days.
right. It was, I thought that they handled it extremely well. I was extremely grateful for how well it went down, and I was extremely proud of myself and the people that I was with on the cruise for not stressing about it, not
Yeah,
focusing on it, and still enjoying our vacation to the fullest.
that's some great. That's great.
And it all came from living in the moment,
Yeah.
right? I really think living in the moment is the key.
So how do we go about like we talk about living in the moment, but how do you get there? Like how do you make that transition to be able to just live in the moment? And are you able? I know the answer for me. Are you always able to do that?
So, how do we go about it? I think for me, the first step was becoming aware that I was on autopilot.
Yeah.
I literally reacted to things without even thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I said things without even considering what I was saying. Like, one of my biggest pet peeves used to be people who were inconsiderate. That was a pet peeve of mine because I did stuff all the time without considering anything. I was on autopilot. How do you possibly consider someone or something when you're on autopilot? You're not even thinking about what you're doing before you do it. You just do it.
Yeah.
The
You know,
very first way I think to become aware is to get off autopilot. We have to realize we're on it.
you know what I think of when I think back to the way my mind worked and way I worked was very much like a tornado. And you know how a tornado, it bounces around, it's very chaotic, it's a mess, but it's constantly picking stuff up and throwing it out, picking it up and throwing it out. And that's what I would do. I was on this chaotic path, right, bouncing here and there. There was no straight line, picking stuff up that people would throw my way, spinning it around and throwing it out.
Yeah, I
And
can definitely see that analogy.
and that think about the mess that leaves.
Mm-hmm.
The destruction that does, right? It's not neat and put together and organized and helpful when it's done. I thought I was. I thought I was doing that. I thought I was, oh, I'm making things easier for people. I'm right.
Picking all their stuff up.
Right. My way was, the most efficient, and that. Well, but I would leave chaos, and I would leave chaos for them in their lives because I never allowed people to figure out their own lives. I just did it for them.
Right.
And that's like I wasn't doing any service to other individuals. My husband's, people I've dated, my children.
I just got this analogy in my head as you're saying this. Um, Go back to the Jetsons. You remember that cartoon, the Jetsons?
Yes.
And the housekeeper that was always cleaning things up.
Uh-huh.
And I remember multiple episodes where George would, or the father, I don't remember. Anyways, he would have
Yeah,
his cup of
George.
coffee and he would go to drink his coffee and he'd set it on the counter and he'd pick up a piece of paper and he'd go back to get his coffee and the maid had come through and cleaned his coffee up.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It was like that. Like, I think I'm helping and I think I'm cleaning up, and I go through and I snatch your cup of coffee as you're reaching for it, and I've got it dumped down the drain and rinsed out,
Right,
and
'cause
now you have to go make another cup.
Right, because I'm 4 steps ahead of you.
Right. And I think I know what's happening, so I'm going around and hurrying up and doing all of this stuff when really I'm making your life more difficult because now you got to go make yourself another cup
Another
of
cup.
coffee that you just made.
Right. That's a good idea.
That's
That is
what
a good
I was
analogy.
doing. I was like that robot, that housekeeping robot that just went around 10 steps ahead of you and threw your dinner away before you had a chance to eat it because they were cleaning it up.
Yeah. Oh, you left it sit there. Okay, you must be done. Psht.
Right.
No, I forgot
Even
the
though
ketchup.
really you were just getting a fork, right? Or the ketchup. That analogy feels very real to me. I thought I
Yeah.
was doing good and I thought I was helping, but I wouldn't even think about what the other person was doing or what they had just done or what they were getting ready to do before I went and cleaned up what I thought was a mess.
And I think now, I can't say I did this would be for everyone, but I could say there's some people I wasn't doing any, like I was doing them a disservice where maybe they were trying to navigate their life and find their self-worth and find, right, that they could take care of themselves after coming, I'm just kind of making this kind of
Right.
up as I go, as a thought process, but maybe they were trying to learn to be self-sufficient. Maybe they were, right, there was something in their life they were navigating, and I took that from them. Right,
How
it was
can your
another
children-
person.
Right. Like, how can your children learn how to do laundry if you always do their laundry for them?
Exactly.
You can't be mad at your kids for turning your white shirt red or pink because they washed it with red clothes if you never taught them to separate the colors of the laundry.
Dylan, so 2 different kids, 10 years apart, recovery, post-recovery, right? My kids are wonderful, but they are very much, you can see my pre-recovery and my post-recovery in them.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-recovery is Dylan, who has to call me about almost everything, right? Not knowing how to do certain things. Colin is going to figure it out himself. He's going to, whether he's going to Google it, whether he's going to, right? He's just going to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan called me the other day, and I won't put too much of his business out there, but this was funny. So he calls me the other day and he says, "Mom, I'm having an issue, and when I'm going to the restroom, I have blood and it's painful."
Well, he has a UTI.
No, the other part, the number 2.
Kidney stones?
No, number 2. Going to the bathroom, number 2.
Oh, number 2. Whoa.
Yes. So, 2 days of conversation about this. Because he didn't know how to navigate through it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I never taught him how to navigate through things. Right?
He was just constipated?
I think he...
Sorry, Dylan.
Yeah, sorry, Dylan. He won't listen, but I think he would... You know how sometimes you go to the bathroom and you have like a very large...
Yes. You're just
And-
constipated and you strain a little too hard. And
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is deja vu, but this moment right here for me is deja vu. I have had this dream that we've had this conversation. Woo! That's weird.
Well, maybe that dream was your key to not talk about Dylan's constipation.
I didn't listen. So didn't listen.
Sorry, Dylan. We
Yeah,
love you.
really. But it was funny because again, it was this 2-day conversation of, and how's your butt? How you do? You need,
Uh-huh.
right? And he's not knowing what to do. He's not. He's
And he's
not.
probably a little concerned, right? That
He
can be scary
is.
if you have no idea what's happening.
It was, but I'm gonna go to mom.
Right. Right.
Colin would have been, oh, this happened. Hey mom, this happened, and I read on the internet. Blah, 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 blah. And he would have went to him, like he would have figured it out. He would have went
Right.
there, right? It would have been, he would have come to me with all the information instead of coming to me to fix it.
Gotcha.
Dylan was coming for me to fix it. What do I need to do? Well, try this, try this, try this. And I I'm not saying anything negative about Dylan and his right. He is a codependent. He will acknowledge that he's a codependent, though very much a codependent reaction and way to handle it, which is the way we used to handle things like that. And I'm still
Right.
a codependent and can still handle things like that. He's still early in his recovery. He's only a year, not even a year and a half in. Maybe he is a year and a half in right now, but he's still early in recovery, so he's still navigating.
Right.
But it shows the difference where, right, Dylan has this idea that he can't do anything outside of me.
Right. Whereas Colin is very much, I'm just doing my own thing.
Yes.
Yeah. See, and my children are so different. All three of my children are extremely independent, thank goodness. But I was extremely independent as well. So
Yeah. So I see.
you can be independent and codependent at the same time, by the
Yeah,
way. That's not me saying they're not codependent because I love you too, but my oldest two are extraordinarily codependent.
right. I think I am very independent, codependent.
Yes. I am as well. Yes.
Yeah.
And my oldest two are very independent,
Yeah.
codependent.
Dylan's an independent, codependent. And so let's elaborate on what we mean by this. I think so for
So,
me.
yeah, I was going to say for me, not for my kids, for me.
Right, for me, yeah, I can't talk about my kids. I can put their business out there, but no, just kidding. So for me, I have always been, I needed no one's help. I've got it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get in my way because you're going to mess things up. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying that I would blatantly say this out loud, right? This was just
My
this
body language said it out loud.
yes. I don't need anyone. Don't need to have help because it'll get messed up. If I do it all myself, it'll be good. I am
Yep.
independent. I can take care of myself. I don't need a man. I don't need this. I don't need. And I picked relationships based on that mentality. So I
Mm-hmm.
picked men that didn't have steady jobs, couldn't and wouldn't and didn't contribute equally to the relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I had somebody that would do
Contribute and help
right, then I was less than.
because you
I
didn't
could
need no help.
right because now you're telling me I'm not independent and I can't take care of myself. But that
Right.
like that. However, the other side of I was also codependent where I needed someone in my life so I could make myself feel better. I needed someone because even though I was independent and I said the words and I knew that this and I knew that and I am very good at taking care of myself. But it wasn't enough. I needed somebody else to take care of because I wasn't enough.
So for me, of being a very independent codependent means and meant pretty much the same as you were saying. I didn't need anybody's help. I didn't want anybody's help, but I had to have a relationship. For a long time, I thought, oh, I can't be codependent. I'll go to dinner by myself. I can't be codependent. I'll go on vacation alone. Therefore, I must be independent, not codependent. What I didn't realize is that those two words are not autonomous of each other. I don't know if
Right.
I'm using the right word there, but they can go together. They are not opposites.
Right.
Independent just means I do things alone. I do things for me. I do things by myself. I do things independently, alone.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean that I'm not reliant on other people. I was the type of codependent that was so full of everyone else there was no room for me. Like when I say
Yeah.
I didn't consider myself, I didn't even realize that having a relationship with me was something I should do. Like I knew what my favorite color was, I knew what my favorite food was, but I didn't know what I thought or what my opinion was on specific things. I didn't I I I just didn't have a relationship with myself. I never talked to myself. I never communicated with myself. I never That's what made me codependent. My relationship was always with other people.
Yeah.
There was never a relationship with myself. Like, yeah, I could be alone. Yeah, I was independent. I
Hmm.
paid my own bills. I went to my own appointments. I raised my kids myself. I was very independent. But all of my relationships were always with other people. I did not have a relationship with myself. I did not have a relationship with a higher power.
You
I
know,
was,
I really like what you said about your, your likes and your dislikes, because I think that is right. Being independent, right? I could do this stuff alone, and I could sit by myself, and I could do but I didn't know myself. I didn't know my likes and my dislikes from even I like to read.
mm-hmm.
Who's your favorite author?
Mm.
Uh, right? Um, I like I like good food. Oh, what's your favorite restaurant? Oh, I don't know what my favorite. I don't know.
Yep. I
Right?
was the same way.
Yeah, and even to this day, like there's certain things that I don't feel I need to have a favorite. Like you
I'm
asked
the
me
same
my
way.
favorite, right? My favorite restaurant.
I don't have one.
Yeah, I don't really have a favorite restaurant. What's your favorite food? I don't really have a favorite food, but I just know that I'm not a big Italian fan.
Right. Like if I had to pick a favorite, I would probably pick pizza. But if you ask me day to day, like what do you feel like eating? I don't
Don't.
know. I'm weird about food.
Yeah, I don't like people will say, "Where do you want to go to eat?" Can you pick the restaurant? And like I can pick the restaurant, but I genuinely don't care.
Right. Like
So,
I don't have this urge or craving to go to this specific place.
right. So now what I'm a lot of times I'll be like and I've done a lot of reflection on this because right, one of those things is, why shouldn't I be able to pick the place? But when I know that I genuinely don't care. So it's like I ask my friends, "Hey, where do you want to go?" You decide. Because
Right.
it's not that I'm being codependent and I'm going to fail. I
Right.
just
It's
really
genuinely that I don't care.
right. Just if there's because if there's some place you really want to go, then just pick it because I'll be
Right.
good.
Because I'll be happy whether we go there or we go somewhere else.
Right, because if I don't like the food, I'll just get a salad or I'll get something. Because for me, it's really about the company. Because that's
Right.
something like I've been to great restaurants by myself. I've been, that's in my past relationship. I've eaten at many, many different restaurants. For me now, it's about the company. I want to spend time with you and interact with you, so I don't care what I'm doing.
Yeah. See, and for me, it's even different than that. It's the same in that I genuinely don't care. Um, I figure I'm going to have the company no matter where we eat. And
Right.
I just don't like food is fuel. I am not one of those people that certain foods are amazing and certain foods are not. Like, food is fuel. Yes, some things taste better than others, but eating dinner is like going to the gas station.
Yeah.
It's something I have to do. It's something my body needs. It's something I do. So when somebody says, "What do you want for dinner?" and I'm like, "Oh, what do you want? I don't care." It's not being codependent. It's not because I'm worried about my opinion. It's that what I'm eating for dinner genuinely does not matter to me.
Right.
Now, if somebody said, "Do you want to go to the beach or do you want to go to the lake?" I would much rather go to the lake. I hate the sand. I'm not a beach person. I don't like sand. I will say very clearly, I would rather go to the lake. You know what
And
I mean?
and I agree with you because that is something you're asking my opinion about something I care about. And
Right.
right, and I would say I want to go to the beach
Yeah.
because right, it's like people ask beach and mountains. Well,
Mountains.
I like both. I give me a good beach, but give me the Smoky Mountains.
I would rather
Right?
go to the mountains all day long. I hate the sand. I don't know what it
Right?
is.
And that's okay. But
Now the sand between my toes, I like that. If there was somewhere to sit and I didn't have to get sand in my bathing suit and
oh
sand in
yeah.
my mouth and sand in my hair, that'd be cool. My issue is that when you go to the beach, you gotta sit in the sand,
Yep. That's
and
true.
that's gross.
And I think, it's like, so even in the beach in the mountains, it's like it's not that I love both. Like I truly love both. I'm going to be happy in either one.
Right.
So just pick. Like that I can allow
You
someone
decide, right?
else the ability instead because and I look at it more it's a way of I'm not controlling this. It's not about me. You know what I mean? It's like it's a way for me to let go and let someone else make like have their own choice because I truly don't care. You want to
Right.
spend a day in the mountains? Let's do it because oh my God, right? You
I
want to
would love
spend it
it.
right? You want to spend it the day at the beach? I'm going to be happy and I'm going to love it as long as I can bring
Right.
my liberation, my liberate my alcoholic beverages. Let me say it that way, right? And I can just chill and be veg and have serenity and peace. I'm good too.
Right.
So I think it's what I've in recovery now for me living in the moment is knowing myself well enough that it's okay for me to not have an opinion, not
Not have
care.
to choose. That is acceptable and it is okay.
Right, I don't have to control the situation. It is I can say consciously in this moment that it's okay that you make the decision and I'm not going to be resentful if it's a bad decision because in my eyes there's no bad decision in certain things.
As long as that's genuinely how I feel on the inside.
Exactly.
If I really want cheeseburgers and I say I don't care and you get tacos, I can't be resentful of
Right.
anybody except myself because I didn't say I wanted cheeseburgers.
So last night we I had a meetup, but it ended up the meetup because they found out I was doing this. Most of my friends came. It ended up being my friend group anyway. Somebody else, but because that's how I met all of them. But
Right.
anyways, we went out for dinner, and one of the girls, which is funny, she's a vegetarian and very picky about what she eats, but she suggested this Mexican restaurant. Um, I don't go to Mexican restaurants, not because I don't like Mexican. I love Mexican food. However, I was married to a Mexican. So my Mexican food is the home cooked,
Mm,
right?
gotcha.
Uh, so to go to a Mexican American restaurant is not my thing because I'm always, and I am using the word always disappointed. So, but she suggested it. Hey, let's do it. Let's do it. Fine, right? Because I don't. She said she liked the place. Let's go. Well, I was disappointed in the food. I was disappointed in the drinks. However, I was not disappointed in the company. And so it didn't matter what was on my plate. I just went with these tostada things and I ate the meat off and the guacamole, right? I I kind of instead of just worrying about, oh, I don't like this, I'm not going to like this and controlling it, like, okay, we'll just go there. I'll just know that I'm going to have subpar expectations for this food and I'm okay with that. Like I'm completely 100% okay with that. I'm just going for the company. And that's what I did. And so
Gotcha. It's all
leaving,
about your mindset.
exactly. Leaving, did you have a great time? Oh my God, I had a best time. Oh, we had so much fun.
Would you go back to that restaurant?
No,
No.
no, not at
But it
all.
was a good time. Nonetheless, it was an amazing time.
Right. I could focus on the food was bad and I spent all this money and like I was disappointed in my food and my sangria it wasn't very good and my margarita I could go in all on that. But the restaurant was beautiful. The patio was gorgeous.
The people were amazing.
Amazing.
There you go. That's what matters.
So not giving the negatives a second thought. And I think that's something else I'm doing different in recovery.
Yes, me too.
I don't look at the negatives anymore. It's like, what did I get out of it? I got this and this and this and this. And all those things, the good, like they so overshadow the bad. Before I would look at only the bad and not even notice the good.
So I watched this, I was watching this video, this self-help video the other day, a couple weeks ago actually, but one of the things it said is when you first go and buy a new car, all of a sudden you're seeing your car everywhere. Which is right when I first bought my RAV4, I started seeing RAV4s everywhere. When you look at a picture and someone says, find all the blue things in this picture, and then they hold the picture up and they take the picture away and they say, did you see anything red? I have no idea because I was looking for the blue things.
Right.
There could have been 10 red things, but I don't know if there was or not because I was looking for the blue things. So what that brought to my attention was what you look for is what you find. If I am looking for the negatives, if I am looking for the things that I don't like, I am always going to find those things. If I am looking for the positives, I will find the positives. If I am looking for people who are untrustworthy, liars and cheaters because I think that's what people are and I want to be right, I believe that's what people are, so that's what I'm on the lookout for, then that's what I will always find. If I believe that people are genuinely good and kind and compassionate, then I will see a lot more good, kind, and compassionate people.
I could have sat at the restaurant last night during the meal and we ordered guacamole and it was it's fresh made. They advertise a fresh made and it was subpar guacamole, blah blah blah. Right? That's where I could have been. My mind could have been. I'm so disappointed in this. I'm so disappointed in this. Get my food. Oh, that's.
You could have got mad at the waiter. I'm not paying for this. Sent it back 2 or 3 times. You could have decided to go somewhere else and leave because the food was gross. You could have decided to go home early.
But I didn't even focus on the food. And that's one of the things that I'm finding in myself now as I go out with individuals and people. I don't eat much when I'm out because I'm so not focused on the food and what I'm eating and what's going on. I'm focused on them. I'm focused on us. And so now it's like this. It's living in the moment. It's like I have this person in front of me, these people in front of me. We're laughing, we're joking, we're being happy. And I was watching this guy last night. He's come to a couple events, and he's a little on the odd side. He's a little on the odd side, but that's fine. But I also see that there's some insecurities, there's some things. And the whole time, he's basket of chips. He ate 3 baskets of chips. Let me just say that.
Okay.
But he was all in with his hands, and he was watching TV. He was so not involved that he barely said anything.
He was just watching TV, eating chips.
So not involved.
Not present.
Not present.
He probably didn't even realize whether the food was good or not because he wasn't in the moment.
Right. He ate his food so fast. Like literally, when I say he was not in the moment, everything was not in the moment. He didn't say goodbye. He literally just disappeared. And I was the host. Like I hosted. Like normally people will, I welcome them.
Thanks
I give them
for
a
doing
hug.
it. Have a good night. Right. Stop and say goodbye.
Like he just I was like, did he go to the bathroom? They're like, no, he left. Oh. Like that kind of not in the moment.
Gotcha.
And I would have been that way myself, but it would have been another level for me. It would have been, I'm running.
What do you mean running? What do you mean?
Avoidance in, like it would have been out of fear. It would have been out of fear. like getting out of this environment as fast as I can to protect myself because there was something I needed to be afraid of. But that was before I knew there was nothing to be afraid of because I felt safe in myself.
So you would have been doing the same things he would have been doing, but not from distraction, but from sheer avoidance.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Correct. Like I wouldn't have had conversations. I would have sat there quiet. And I get it all the time now. They're like, everybody thinks I'm the most outgoing, happy, fun person. And I'm thinking, man, I got these people. I'm not so much anymore. But like sometimes like that'll creep in. And I'm like, God, I have you guys all fooled because I am so not that person.
Do you know, I have the same, except that for me, it's not, oh, I have you guys fooled. It's, wow, you guys really don't see it. Right? Like I do that. I've said that like with work or like with the kids. Like I'm doing such an amazing job and there's people who look at me and they're like, I'm so proud of you. And then I look at it and I'm like, whoa, you guys, not that I have them fooled, but that they just can't see it. Like they're going to see it eventually.
Interesting.
Not so much anymore, but that's right.
But
that's how
right.
it used to be.
Yeah. Okay.
Same thing though, right? Same idea, just different.
Just different. We're different people.
We find that a lot. Same, but different.
Yeah. And I think that's the, like I will say, I'll say frequently, like we're just in Coda, we're not that unique. We're really not.
Right. We're not that unique.
Our story might be a little different, but our book is the same.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So, Ashley, a great conversation.
Absolutely. I love this. I love talking to you.
I know. It was funny, and I'm just going to put this out there for everybody. It's like earlier we were kind of talking about like, not giving this up because we both love it, but maybe we should cut back a little bit. But then now that I'm in this conversation with you and we're done, and it's like I'm like all like I'm standing up talking to you, and I'm like all like I'm just happy actually
and
having
in
this.
it.
Yes.
In the moment, present, aware, in it.
Yes. And
Me
I just
too.
love doing this with you.
Me too. Every I look forward to it. And I'll be honest, sometimes I don't necessarily look forward to it.
Right.
But by the time I'm in it and towards the end, I'm like, oh, that was nice.
Yeah. That's one of the things I've noticed as well. And I kind of, just for people that struggle getting themselves out there, like almost every time because I still am an introvert.
Me too.
I
would rather read my book quietly than sit and talk to people.
Yep. Be home in my comfortableness with my dog and my kid and just be quiet in my jammies and comfy clothes and all it, right? And so every time before I go out, there is part of me like, oh, I gotta go out. I'm gonna go out, and like I'm like, oh, I just want to stay home. And I used to listen to that. That used to drive me all the time.
And just stay home and never go do anything and just follow that. Oh, I want to stay home and just stay home.
Yes.
I used to too.
Yep. Now I know that I still get that thought. I still get that feeling. Now what I know is, okay, Dawn, I can appreciate this, but I also know you're going to go, when you get there, you're going to have an amazing time. And then you're on the way home, you're going to be so glad you went. And you're going to actually think that on your way home. It's like, oh, I'm so glad I went.
Right. So now I'm making a conscious decision of, do I actually want to go or do I actually want to stay? Not based off this idea that it's going to be horrible and I'm going to have a bad time and I'm anxious and I'm worried, but based off what I truly want to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And 9 times out of 10, I'm going because I really want to go. Because
and then I end
know.
up having a blast.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I can't let that want to sit on my couch person have control of my life. That because there's part of me, I'm split, right? I can't have that the introvert part of me control my life all the time.
It's important to follow sometimes.
Yes. I know. Usually, I'm not a big person where I went out to dinner Friday night with a friend. It was just one-on-one. I was out last night, and now today I'm home. I don't know if I want to go out today.
Right.
But that doesn't mean I can't change my mind later if somebody texts and say, hey, you want to stop, you want to get a drink. What I'll do, I'll be like, sure, but I'm coming in leggings. I'm going to come comfy. I don't want to go anywhere fancy. Let's just make it chill. And I'll do it on my terms.
Right. Which is even better, I think.
Yeah. So if they want to go somewhere fancy, well, then that's today. Then I can't do that because I'm not putting makeup on and I'm just not doing it.
Right. Right.
And that's okay.
That's, I think, one of the greatest gifts I have been given from recovery. And I feel like I say that about a lot of different things, but a really great thing I've been given is the ability to stay in the moment and truly decide, what do I want right now?
Yeah. Well, right now, I need another cup of coffee. I want another cup of coffee. I want to go sit on my couch, and I want to go finish editing this podcast. And I just want to veg out today. So, Ashley, have a great week.
You too, Dawn. Listeners, everybody, thanks for a wonderful week, and have an amazing week.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
We would like to thank you for joining us on this journey of self-discovery. Visit the Work It website at workityouareworthit.com to submit your questions and topics for future episodes. And remember, work it because you are worth it.